Gentlemen, welcome to another Final Fantasy Randomizer Swiss Flags. We are in week 3 of our action. We've got a matchup of a couple of 2-0 commentators tonight in Willcleosis and Ichbinmiah. I am Sforzando, and I am joined in the booth by a longtime veteran of the Final Fantasy Randomizer scene, Papa Foys. Papa Foys, what are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm looking for that traditional Trolley Shyleisha seed coming at you hot tonight. Shy, I do have a race tonight, so please not 3 hours.
Well, in Zaranji's absence, this is what we are praying to now. Our force class tonight, as you can see, is the Black Belt, which is going to make things a little interesting for our runners, as many of our runners have treated the Black Belt as a class you can just kill, making this a 3-person game. You can see Will's opting for the double Red Mage, while Ichbinmiah is running Red Mage, White Mage. So it's going to be interesting to see where the black and white magic lines up in the seed, because if you get an unlucky spot like slot 2 of white, your Red Mages and Red Wizards can't use it at all. And if any of our good, mute, fast, temper is level 6 and beyond, that's going to hurt the Red Mages as well without bringing a Black Mage.
Yeah, this could definitely be a seed that is won or lost right here now in the menu with the party selection. Like you said, bad magic slots for Willcleosis could be really detrimental if he has no life spells, no fasts, no tempers. It's going to be really painful for him.
Or it could pay off in spades. It's really a mixed bag. If the spells work in his favor, the 2 Red Mages will give him much better survivability than bringing, say, a Black Mage in that place.
That's true. It's like the double-edged sword. We don't really know until we hit start here. The racers are getting ready. We should be getting off here soon. I've talked to Willcleosis a little bit over the past couple days about his match, and he said he's got a couple little sneaky little tricks he's going to try to pull tonight if they present themselves. So we'll see if he's kind of been the old guard slayer so far. It took out Tristal last week and took out Zar the first week, and now he is here facing again another one of the old guards. Maya's been in the community for quite some time now, so it'll be interesting to see what these two did to study up on one another.
Definitely. And the gates are being opened now, and our runners should be heading out here momentarily.
Go, go, go. And they're making us look bad.
And we're off. There we go. We're going to pop into the magic shops. Oh, there's Fade in a perfect spot.
That's a nice fade, but that's a crappy Cure 4.
Oh, and it looks like Maya's going to reorganize his party here. He's going to opt for double Red Mage. Triple Red Mage. What?
Get out of here. What is this? So he just does not value Cure 4, I guess?
I guess not, because that Cure 4 is out of reach for the Red Wizards being in that 2 slot. I think he should, if he wanted to go with more firepower, he probably should have kept one of those White Mages for safety. But they're in equal footing because Will also does not have access to that Cure 4 spell.
That was a really, really interesting decision right out the gate by Maya.
Well, it's an awful lot of firepower at level 1. Nuke's not quite as good as Fade is, but if Nuke is at 2, then that is definitely going to be a huge amount of Red Mage power in this game. Perhaps his mentality is just kill it before it can swing on you.
Wow, what an absolute hero run. And we get the Thor hammer in the bottom left-hand chest here in TOFR.
It's a fairly solid find, especially for... well, I would have said for a White Mage, but we don't have any of those anymore. Looks like Maya makes quick look of Garland, and there's the bridge in an incentivized location. That That means, ladies and gentlemen, one of our incentivized items is in a loose chest somewhere in the game. So we'll see how long it takes our players to find it.
Thanks, Shy.
This is already starting out great.
So we have the loot and the bridge. This is going to be, oh boy. I don't think we've seen a race where the bridge was on an NPC to start the game.
I can't remember where specifically it was. I thought it was in an incentivized race. I had one with Green Cleric last week in which the rod luckily was in Cardia Islands, and so we lucked out a little bit in finding it as part of our normal progression. I think there's been one or two others this tournament so far. It makes for a very interesting seed because it does displace one of our incentivized items to somewhere in the world, and who knows what it is or what it could be. It could be the floater, and it could be in Marsh. Who knows?
Now, how trolly would it be if Vicky gave us the ship?
Oh, I think that'd make it even worse. Wouldn't that make it two items then in the world, as the ship bridge TNT combo usually displaces incentivized items when they are found on these places. So who knows?
This could get fun. Maya's going to go back in and grab his 3 chests here. The Thor hammer and his 1,823 gold, or 63 gold, whatever it was.
Willcleosis is making a play for Matoya's Cave. It's a mixed bag. If you've got saving items, Matoya's isn't a bad play. But with Fade, you can take out Bicky, no problem. Those 3 chests, I'm not going to say you can give them a miss. We'll see what they have here. Mostly money.
That's a good amount of money, though. That's going to, hopefully they'll have some save items. I think they only had the house in Corneria, and it was a lot. So that 6,000 or so gold that he just picked up will be nice for when he gets to Provoca, do his level 2 shopping, pick up any armor that he might be able to afford, and hopefully get some tents or cabins.
Yeah, I was just remarking with Shy right before this game started about how we played a seed with no tents, no cabins, and no offensive firepower in the Black Magic shop at level 1, and we got Canoe as one of the incentivized items. So we had to go backwards from Canaria to Elfland with a couple of nastier creatures on the way. That's not
fun. This beginning part of the game can be very unforgiving.
Well, thankfully, with our runners having, seemingly unlimited fade casts, things are going to drop pretty easy, pretty early. And we get Will's first look at the pirates. In these pirate flags, I believe the pirates are not going to be dangerous. There's actually a specific flag that gives them the chance to be dangerous. Those are turned off for the purposes of our Swiss flags. So, like normal, these pirates go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, nobody likes hour-long pirates. And we do get the Canoe here. So that'll open up Ice Cave, Volcano, and Crescent Lake to the runners.
We've also got a max-priced cube in the item shop in Provoca. That's probably one you will be able to give a miss for a long time. Thankfully, it's not something important like a crown or a floater.
Now, the unfortunate part is it's here in Provoca. It's, if the floater's here, you can just run to Peninsula Power, grind, get the gold to come back and get it. But, you need the cube to get into the Sky Cave, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah, thankfully our runners... Oh, there's our level 2 nuke, ladies and gentlemen. So, this should be pretty quick.
Wow. This is fun.
Yeah, we're only short life spells now. Otherwise, we've got Fade 1, Nuke 2, Invis 2, and Wall 2 also in the White Magic shop at level 2. We're just a life 2 short of this thing being just blown wide open.
So we see Will does the power on, knowing that he gets the huge hero run here. It's gonna pretty much just use like 1, maybe 2 save items. Power on, and get the Crescent Lake really easy.
Yeah, and so when you get down to Crescent Lake, we're going to see what the item the sages have. Our runners are going to hope it's the floater, but we're hoping for something else. At least I am.
Yeah, we can't make this too easy. You got Nuke and Fade level 1, 2, and Viz 2. You got Wall. We need to see some struggle here now. Pro rings for 23,233 here in Crescent Lake.
Looks like White 6 is a bust.
Ugh, that was ugly.
You've got Bane for your red wizards, but otherwise, 6 is locked in every slot but the top for your red wizards there.
All right, we got the tail.
All right, so
I already like this. Now they have to make a decision.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple ways this can go, but we're down to basically one incentivized location, and that is the Ice Cave. And we have not found our floater yet, so it's going to be interesting to see whether our runners go right for the Ice Cave, or if they go to Volcano to maybe collect some more gear, some more treasure, or with all those fades and nukes, maybe go ahead and take carry out first thing.
Yeah, and this is the kind of one unfortunate thing with that first encounter being so long in your cycle, that to try to find these good Peds and Giants fights, there's actually 4 different zones right around Crescent Lake here. So if it's short, you can just kind of go to each zone, power on, power off, and search a couple spots. But with this one being, 40 steps, it's pretty close to, they're not going to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that is one of the features of the encounter table shuffle that is one of our newer implementations, is that every 64 by 64 zone and every floor of every dungeon, the normal 1 to 8 encounter list is shuffled. So there is a bias where I believe 1 to 5 is shuffled differently, and then 3 to 8 is shuffled differently. So like basically the encounters 3 to 5 kind of get shuffled twice. So it's possible your 8s could slip into a 5 or a 6. But the more important thing is that each encounter zone is going to be different. So there's no way to track like, oh, I got encounter 7 here. I know I'm going to get this, this, and this in these dungeons. You can no longer predict that. And it just adds to the random factor for our runners. I think you mentioned earlier talking about that generous first run. I think Will looks like he's just fishing at this point. Just that first run looks too long for him to be able to predictably trigger something. So I think he's just fishing maybe for more Peds or something.
They are early in the encounter.
Maya's making a play for Elfland here. Probably wants to take a look at what those 3 and 4 shops are before maybe hitting up the Ice Cave. Doesn't look like we got Warp at 3. Warp and Exit are really the 2 big things we're looking for. Preferably Warp for the ice skills and Exit for just about everything else. There's Exit.
And it's learnable. Maya's a very happy person right now. And cheap, only 166 gold. Can also grab that fire too.
I think he wants a spell in that first slot so that nobody loses to the exit boss.
I don't think I've got defeated by that one yet, but time will tell.
It's kind of a doozy, especially if you egg it on by putting it in the first slot of any given level. It's even worse if it's first slot of level 1.
Curious, he didn't go to 4. 4 has Warp. He's the Peds and the Giants were definitely very common encounters wherever he was in the table. It would have been interesting, probably more beneficial for him just to level to 10 and get that 1 Warp charge at level 4.
I think I'm torn, because if this is the floater, he's going to get levels and items sort of simultaneously with nukes and fades. So it's not totally bad that he makes an entire dive of the Ice Cave at this point. And if you come out with the floater, that's the added bonus. If it's not the floater, you're probably going to see him sail over there anyway. This is really, I think he's probably got to be satisfied with what he's got at this point.
Yeah, we see Will's already level 9. The images and the wraiths are slapping him.
I see Meridian BC in chat correcting me there that a group 8 can get actually shuffled 2, 3, or 4. It allows Warmech to possibly be more often on the Bridge of Destiny, among other things. One of the downsides to not having any life spells at this point is that Willcleosis has already lost his fighter. Hopefully the nukes and fades are sustainable, but we'll see what happens here.
I didn't see if he hard passed, but I would almost like to see him just check this mage chest, and if it's good, just keep going. But if it's not a worthwhile item, I would just reset, and you're not really missing too much.
Yeah, that item was a Opal Gauntlet, so it's a sellable at best at this point. Now, you mentioned the Encounter 1 was nice, and you're right, the Encounter 1 was nice, but if he did Power Cycle, there's a little bit of a chunkier section right here in the Encounter table.
And you don't get to find that out if that first encounter that is deep in steps, because you're going to reset just to run through the world, and you're never going to get into encounter 10 to 20 until you get into a dungeon. So you really don't know what to expect going into your first dungeon.
Yeah, so far, it looks like Will's handling the Ice Cave fine. We haven't seen anything crazy. Images and wraiths seem to be relatively fine. Here's our first look at our bones. They have mute, so we're just going to keep running from them.
They're like, we're going to need you to be quiet, sir. And he is going to take, I don't know if he's going to take the Frostwolf chest here. That's 2 to 6 doggies, and if they have anything nasty, this could be gross. And the way he walked in the room, I don't think he's going to... Oh, we do get our first ribbon sighting, though.
Yeah, if it were me, I'd probably skip the chest because you haven't seen Frostwolves yet. Sometimes it might be nice if you hit that Frost Giant Frostwolf encounter to maybe scout the Frostwolf a little bit. I had a seed where Frostwolves had Blaze, and that's how I found out, so I skipped the chest, which was really nice.
Yeah, Blaze Doggy's not fun. So though we see that that Will has gotten in first, we know that Maya has 3 casts of exit on his Light Warrior party, so he's definitely going to be able to close this gap as he traverses here through the Ice Cave.
Yeah, that's the big difference, is Will's going to have to make this pass through the lower levels of Ice Cave twice. And Fuchsia Fantasy reminding us that, yes, there is a loose item out there in the world somewhere. The bridge was one of our incentivized items in this game, so there is a loose item out there in the world somewhere. Let's hope for Will's sake that it is not buried behind the Frostwolf chest.
Or the green or the white dragon chests. And we do have our floater here in the vanilla look. Shy, is this even randomized? We got the bridge. Vicky gives us something to sail. And now we have the floater in vanilla. Shy, we're gonna have a talk, buddy.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting because, like I said, Maya, like you said it actually, Maya is definitely going to be able to close the gap because when he gets to that eye chest and does that eye, he can just exit out right there. That's going to save him the time that Will is spending trying to make his way over to the exit, which it looks like he's got a fairly clean encounter table doing so good for him.
Yep, now we're just going to see save power on, and he should have his floater at about 18 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to. I think that long encounter one's gonna maybe negate any of that exit travel that Maya would do. Yeah, he might save that time, but realistically, I don't know if he actually gains any of that ground back because that encounter one's just such a huge advantage.
And we see that Maya's black belt also taking dirt nap again on that mage fight.
Oh, one of Maya's red mages is down now too.
So we got about 60% of the gold required for the cube.
Maya's gonna go check the white dragon chest, so we're gonna see if there's anything. If Will missed anything behind there, I almost think if he's checking this one, he'll probably check the Frostwolf chest as well.
And this is where warp is like so valuable because you can skip this tile a second time. I actually like to fall down and check these two chests and then warp because I'd rather take that trap tile than this fight twice.
Yeah, I think that predominantly depends on what different monsters, because that trap tile that you talked about dropping down into, I mean, there could be 4 different types of enemies, whereas these frosties are only frosties, but they're frosty, so they tend to be pretty bad.
Will's going to give us our first look at Sarda here, and we'll find out what he has here in a second. Giving us the crown. It's very interesting here. So I wonder if he's going to route that in now or go check all the other free chests first.
I kind of hope he routes at least the first 2 steps, because you just can fly right over to Northwest Castle, do that kill, fly up to Matoya's, turn that in, and then continue flying north into Cardia Islands. I kind of hope he does that. I just think that's probably the best routing, unless he really feels like checking crown chests, which is also not a terrible thing.
We did just see a katana, nothing else special there. Nope, he is going to go up to the Cardia Isles.
And Maya's going to give us our look at the Frost Wolves. They are unrunnable, but Fade Nuke should not be a problem for them.
Yeah, we're not going to find out what they have yet. Will also did not go to Elfland before flying up here to get these chests. So still missing that nuke, but is going to take the time to class change. This will be an interesting see to take if Maya's going to wait and grind the black belt a little bit, or if he's going to class change immediately, giving the red wizards access to extra spells.
Yeah, that's a tough call, because at this point it would give, it would give the wizards access to that 4th slot in white. It would give them access to level 4 magic, and I don't know, because it depends on whether or not he values that black belt actually being a tank, or if he is, opting for a different form of that strategy.
And I do also believe the absorb bug is fixed in this version. So, we got a white shirt. So he's not going to be able to just put a ribbon on his black belt and get all that magic defense and then get the absorb from the glitch. That's been fixed. So now he's either got to run no armor at all and just rely on that magic resistance, or put gear on, which is really, really, it adds an interesting dynamic to the black belt that wasn't there in previous times.
Looks like white shirt was really the biggest thing to come out of Cardia Islands there. And see, I would have liked to have seen Will route castle ordeals there because you're kind of right near it, but you don't have the slab or nothing to do the other things. But while you're up there, it is something you could do, because he's not going to find the slab unless it happens to be crown. It happens to be the chest, and it happens to be crown locked or something like that. I wouldn't mind the Castle Ordeals play right there.
I agree. He did not pick up X. Oh, he's going to biased. This is so funny.
Everybody's scared of the exit boss.
I did it intentionally one time when I was like brand new to the randomizer. I would go to kill Garland and get the princess, and then I exit out of Corneria one time, and it sent me back to Temple of Fiends, and it just so happened that there's something terrible, and it took us 8 hours to get there anyway. Life 2, learnable by the Red Wizards. That is so huge for Maya.
Yeah, and there's fast as well in the black magic that is accessible not only, well, okay, never mind. I guess I was gonna say not only that, but to ninjas, but we don't have any ninjas. But in that 4th slot, the red mage, red wizard combo can use the fast spell as well. So hopefully our runners don't have a tough Temple of Fiends to use all their life spells and have no fasts left. We'll see how they manage.
I almost like to see him designate a couple, especially for Maya, designate a couple to life and one to fast. And it does look like Maya is going to take his blonde little booty down to Bahamut and class change as well. So that answers our question.
He probably is not going to value an absurd amount of levels in that black belt, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did stack that opal bracelet, or not opal bracelet, gold bracelets, and some sort of other, absorb on him to make it just a functional tank.
Yeah, I've only played with the black belt one time since they did the absorb change, and it's really noticeable. It's always nice when you have 12 charges of exit and can skip all these chests.
So we know that temper is either going to be 7 or 8. Both of those things kind of bode poorly for the red mages, depending on what level they are. They only get access to one black mage spell, and it is the top spell in Gaia. So whatever that is basically what's left of the black magic for our red wizards. And so if that is not temper, we may need to find the power gauntlet somewhere in the world.
So this really turns into a witch hunt here if this crown doesn't have the extra item that we're looking for.
Yeah, I'd be curious as to what's left in the, what are you really looking for? Power Gauntlet's probably going to be, I'm not going to say it's required. I think if I were in this position, I probably could forego the Power Gauntlet if you just concentrate your nukes and fades as your primary source of damage and let your tank just tank. So Dragon Armor, maybe, but Opal Armor should be sufficient. While at level 2, in White Shirt and Invis 2 at 2 is going to give our runners all sorts of defense and mitigation. Life 2 at 4 should be sufficient for bringing anybody up who went down. Unfortunately, for Will's side, that's only going to be 2 party members, whereas on Maya's side, it could be 3. But Will is set up a little better defensively to take on a Temple of Fiends run at this point. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Fuchsia reminding me in chat, we've actually not seen Melman spells yet at level 5. So it actually could be at level 5. Red Wizard has access to all 4 slots in Melman. So if it's 5, that's a good spot for it.
Sometimes I'm curious to take this mummy fight and see how terrible they are, because you see mummies everywhere.
Could give you a sense for how your castle ordeals, your sea shrine, potentially Earth Cave in some spots is going to go.
Yep, plus the waterfall, and yeah, it's just all fun. I don't think we saw any mummies in the ice cave for once, as he gets a free gold bracelet. That's always nice. Flame sword, dollars, opal shield, dollars, and ice shield. Memes, hooray! And Will doing the famous trying to kill everybody in the towns. MLG landing abilities. Gonna check these last 6 chests. And we see Maya over here doing some shopping. Oh, getting his second katana. And gonna see the beauty that is life too. And cheap.
That is very cheap for that level. So we have 2 incentivized locations left, if I remember right. We have the Waterfall Cave, and we have our Castle Ordeals. And I think we are still looking for the Bottle, the Slab, and the Rod, it looks like, according to our tracker.
Yep, we know the cube is still in Provoca for $1 million, of which our runners do not have yet. That is a high ransom to pay for a little block.
And so while we're taking this shopping spree, as we're getting close to the half-an-hour mark, we want to take this opportunity to thank Randomizer for giving us this platform to be able to show our community off to the world. Thank you guys in the audience there for tuning in to us. Huge thanks to Melee Wizard for doing the tracking for this race. Thanks to Shy for doing our restream as part of Randomadia's broadcast crew. Certainly feel free to give the runners a follow. Feel free to give Randomadia and its auxiliary channels a follow if you like randomizer action and you like seeing more of it. Randomadia has at least 4 different stations dedicated to this, and so there's definitely a lot more action where this came from.
We do have Will picking up his cube. He paid the ransom.
It's a good time to route in all those spells for your knight there while you're here.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably going to go Ordeals, see if they have the bottle. It's really unfortunate the items kind of fell the way they did, because you have to, and actually he's just going to make a fool of me, and we're going to dip into the volcano.
I think I wouldn't have minded either place. Some people will just go around the world, touch the incentivized locations, and find them. Oh, and there's our power gauntlet right there in the first freebie chest in Volcano B2. Some players will go around and fly and get the incentivized items. Others want to get the objectives done, and so definitely can go either way on this. Good to see Will's going to the volcano, making good use of the armory, and finding a power glove.
With that open item, I mean, it's really hard to say which play is more correct. Just because you're really dead set on you've got to take all the chests. I mean, you have to look at everything now. We fortunately have the knowledge that Will didn't miss anything in the ice cave. Maya full cleared it, so we are pretty much dead even. And Willcleosis is taking the first little lead here, starting his venture into the volcano, which probably is the right play. It has the largest quantity of chests for any of the remaining locations.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of negligible whether they go Ordeals now or Volcano now, because, oh, and there we go.
That's a good find.
Maya's been fairly methodical in chest checking so far. I don't anticipate that he misses it, but that is in an interesting location. as depending on the seed and depending on the items and the layout, some of our runners may opt to skip those 2 chests. We'll see what Maya does here, but he's been methodical. I kind of expect him to check those.
Yeah, no, I suspect we're just going to see Will go.
Well, the one thing we're lacking at this point, and this is if it matters to him, is he's still lacking a weapon with punch and some good defensive items. Even if he wants to take a bare minimum stance on the items, he's definitely still lacking a weapon and probably some of the heavier armor that you'd like to see before going into Temple of Fiends Revisited.
And we're going to see Maya with his newly formed General Leo lookalike going to take it a dip into ordeals. This is the not so cool General Leo. He doesn't have the cape like the Black Wizard does. We have Frost Paralisks.
That's kind of fun.
You get big packs of those here. Not on these bottom floors, but you also get big packs in the Waterfall and here in Ordeals. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and as you can see, the route divergence, we talked about whether one would make the decision to go Volcano or Ordeals. The levels that both of our runners have, each of these dungeons should be negligible to both of them. With the sheer volume of nuke and fade charges, they should be able to mow down every single thing in their path. I think it's just a matter of what progression would you like to do at this point. And sometimes if the routing is there, get what's closest.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how many of these chests Will is going to check here on the 4th floor. Or 3rd, yeah, 4th floor. All those muscles are obviously just inflatable. Like those fantastic Halloween costumes we get for our kids. Services have poison touch. And I'm really glad I have my volume muted right now, so I don't have to hear the poison sound.
I definitely missed it. My apologies, but a huge shout out to Falconic FF for donating 1,000 bits to Randomania. Hugely grateful for the donation. It helps keeps programming like this on the air and for your viewing pleasure. So thank you so much, Falconic, for that 1,000-bit donation.
He's in a really good mood because I let him win. I mentioned Shuffle Race earlier. Oh no! Willcleosis found the trash blade.
When there's literally no other weapon that'll do, Vorpal's got your back. In the same way that a trash can would literally have your back if you had one. We've got the rod in Castle Ordeals. So it looks like then our waterfall item is going to be the slab. Depending on how routing works, because Will has found the bottle, it's going to be interesting to see what his routing is, whether he caches in the bottle first or whether he goes to Waterfall Cave. You can cash in your bottle and then head over to Waterfall Cave and do Sea Shrine kind of in one fell swoop. And so, otherwise that's where the slab's going to be. You could go grab the slab and do all of the Eastern Mirage Tower, Sky Castle, translate your slab, etc., etc.
Nice pickup. Just grab the Aegis shield. He's got the armor, and he really needs just a weapon now. That Vorpal isn't going to be enough. The black shirt is a great pickup, though. Free ice too. When you have 800 faded new charges.
And no one can equip the black shirt either, so no one's going to get to take advantage of the benefits.
Falconic's calling you out on your hate of the Vorpal.
I mean, it works. It just doesn't feel good when you slash for like 10, and then you have a chance to crit for like 800. It's like, that's all cool and all, but what happens if you just hit for 10 a bunch of times in a row? It's just not helpful. It's not predictable. It's useless. But it is better than better than the defense sword. I will give it that. If your choices are defense sword or Vorpal, take the Vorpal out.
I'm still picking the defense sword. Oh, look, he only crit for 160. It's like he hit him with a wet noodle.
I mean, at this point, they should have enough nuke and fade charges that all the fighter has to do is stand there and eat every single hit, and they'll probably make it through. It almost isn't going to matter about the weapon. He probably can get by with that Vorpal sword. He probably can. Just, enough nukes and fades for days, and so long as none of the fiends pop out that Cure 4, he should be fine.
All right, and we are going to see... he's going to like finding... Or he's not... Or he's going to like finding the rod because he knows he can go to the waterfall next and kind of do Sea Shrine and get his slab all in one go. So this is nice, fortunate routing decision here for Willcleosis.
And so we now have Maya coming out of the waterfall with that slab. We'll see what he does. He does not have the bottle, so he cannot go to the ice cave. He's not even going to go peek into Onrak.
Sir, he's already done the ice cave. And this is what we were kind of talking about earlier, is Willcleosis has the missing item that was in a chest that they had to find, and now this is basically he knows what he has to do now, where Maya still has to spend time looking for chests, as we're going to get our first look here. No warp in
no
level
temper
5 or temper. Nope. We do have expert.
Looks like, 5's just a big pile of garbage right there. The only thing that would be a disaster right now for Maya is if Maya went to the Earth Cave looking for that item. We have the hindsight to know that it is in Volcano, and it's almost right in the path of our runners normally. But if Maya thinks that item is anywhere else, like in Earth Cave or something like that, it will make things a little worse for him. That's not to say he wouldn't find something important down there, but at this point, if he doesn't head to the volcano to look for his item, it's going to set him back a little ways.
Will got a little lost on the teleporter maze and just decided to reset out.
That happens sometimes if you don't know which of the straight paths you've been through. Did you go through the left zig? Did you go through the bottom one? Have you been to the little squares? Like, sometimes if you get sent back, you wonder if you'd been to this one before. Thankfully, you can't soft lock anymore. Thanks to our developers, they fixed the soft lock, where if you touch more than 30 portals and then go into the menu, it soft locks you. Thankfully, that's fixed, so you can touch the teleporters as long as you can stay alive. But Will opting to reset from the start and now making it through.
And it looks like Maya has made the correct decision. It's all going to depend if he checks that chest.
He's been thorough enough. It looks like he's going to farm the fires, or he forgot to check the chest is what he's done. I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
It's not pertinent information I like to reveal to the viewers.
Oh, now, if you can't make fun of yourself, who can make fun of you?
My opponents.
Yeah, with Maya being very methodical, he has actually opted for the counterclockwise route around and will end up in the armory last, which means he should end up with his bottle, barring any unforeseen incidents with the enemies here in the volcano. Will's run through the volcano was relatively clean. I expect Maya's to be as well.
Yep, Will has his rod, and he is out of there like a cat out of hell. And we'll see if he's gonna probably go get his oxy ale and then head over to the waterfall. Would be my guess. Although I've been wrong every other time I've said this, so yeah.
With the expectation that Maya's going to check every chest in Volcano, Will looks like he has about a 1 dungeon lead. The only place he hasn't been that Maya has been the Waterfall Cave, but I expect Maya to lose that Waterfall Cave time in the time he spends checking all of these chests. And so I'd put him at about a 1 dungeon length or so behind Will, or about, I'll call it 5 minutes or so.
So the real question is, he's going to grab this bottle. Is he in go mode? Because he's probably just looking for some gold rings and maybe 1 more ribbon, but you've got to think he's, with this setup, is not looking for as much gear.
I hope that he's looking for 1 more ribbon. I think the way his party comp is aligned, he's going to need at least 2 casters to be alive at all times. And if one lives, you get to the end of the fight, you can life to everybody else and everything is fine. But if you lose 2 guys off the bat to a zap or a bane or a crack or what have you that a ribbon would have saved, you're down to 1 caster trying to nuke down a boss. And so I'd hope for his sake that he finds 1 more ribbon, but we'll see if he makes copious use of the wall spell.
Yeah, I did not get a peek at the 6 chests Maya looked at in the waterfall, but the tracker didn't pick up a 2nd ribbon, so I don't think there was 1 there.
I don't think it had anything. If I remember right, Will's going to give us a look at those, but I think a lot of it was just money.
Our runners are making it rain this run.
Well, they'll need to with a max price cube.
Well, thankfully they both have it already, so their debt has been paid to the IRS and they're ready to go. I would assume if you correctly walk here through the volcano, you could probably get to Carrie's floor without an encounter. I believe there was enough free space in between to do that.
There's a couple of small stretches of like 10 squares or so where you've got like right up here where Maya's about to go through. There's about 8 squares there. And then another one coming up that's about 8 squares. And then I think there's another smaller one right before they round the corner to the fire floor. And then there's another stretch of probably 15, 14 or so between the last lava tile and the next lava tile on B5. So you could probably make it if the encounter table were truly generous to you, but you're probably going to get 3, maybe 4 encounters max.
Hi, Jaws. Thank you, sir. So we're here at the 45-minute mark. Let's do a little recap as Maya goes the long way, and he just wants some extra fights, I guess. So our runners killed Garland. They received the bridge, and another item. The loot from Princess Sarah and the King. Vicky gave us the canoe. The sages gave us... God, I forget. The crown.
No.
Yeah, it was the crown.
No, Sarda was the crown.
Oh, then they gave us the tail.
Yes.
Sarda gave us the crown. The floater was in vanilla. The bottle was in a random chest in the volcano because the bridge was received from one of the NPCs. I am actually the oldest person in the community, Shy, so I can use that excuse. Ordeals had the rod. and the waterfall had the slab, so we are all ready to go here. Is Willcleosis? Oh no, that's Maya has already translated his slab. But we are going to have Will going into the sea shrine here and going to get our first look at all the nastiness that could potentially be here.
And then after we're done with the ladies, we're going to go up to Kraken.
Whoa, we're going to go see some ladies.
I doubt it. I think Will might feel like he's in such a go mode that he might skip the ladies tonight.
Don't tell Rainbow Poodle or Joker.
Doesn't look like it, at least in this pass.
Alright, and we do have route diversions here as Maya is doing the Earth Cavern. We will not see any ladies in this race. We do have another one coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. So maybe we'll see some ladies then.
Is that a guarantee?
I cannot. I don't know if Manucci's going to go check the mermaids. I can't tell you that. You'd have to ask him.
I kind of like Maya's play here. While he's translating the slab, he's going to go ahead and knock out Lich. He's going to check a minimal amount of chests in the Earth Cave and then go knock out Lich. It's sort of a regional while you're in the area. It really is only going to save maybe 30 seconds or a minute in total travel time, but I like it.
Yeah, you can't complain. He's here. He got his slab. He's got the rod. Might as well go through and knock this out real quick. Did we see? Is Willcleosis? No, he's dead. Never mind. I thought I saw him revive the black belt, but he's napping again.
The chat, Hangry Canuck, asking, "Hey y'all, catch me up." You literally just missed Joey go through all of the great things that happened in this race. Most importantly, the bridge was one of the incentivized items. Unfortunately, the bottle was in an easy-to-find location. So otherwise, Duke fade for days, and we're just waiting for this one to wrap up at this point.
Yeah, I believe both runners are pretty much just looking for a ribbon.
I think it's more important that Maya finds it than if Will finds it. The walls at level 2 will help, and all three of his party members can cast that. But with Maya, you're in the same boat. Like, obviously, you have 3 people that can cast wall, but you don't want to lose 2 of them in a fight just in case something bad happens. I don't know. I guess it matters to both.
Yeah, it's a really weird predicament to be in, because you really have to pick. Do you waste 1 round casting wall on 2 people, and then what's the third person do? You know, is he doing Invis 2 or Roos or Invis 1 or whatever he wants to do, or is he, you know, going pedal to the metal, hitting with nukes and fades? I would assume, barring a very, very generous Temple of Fiends Revisited, that we're probably going to see a wipe or 2 or 4.
Ooh, we were just about to see a wipe on Willcleosis' side as he came across the murder lobsters.
That's a really, really happy red wizard right there. Did they just claw slap him in the face?
Yeah, it was just rough damaging power lobsters.
And that's scary because he's got the gold bracelets and he's got at least 1 pro cape. So this is, yeah, I don't feel good if I'm Will in this situation.
Well, as I think Maya knocked Lich out with 1 nuke, it looks like. So Maya's got his second orb lit, as Will is working towards the Kraken floor to get his second orb lit. Maya is taking his translated slab over to Lefane, it looks like he might be hitting up the Mirage Tower Sky Castle next. I kind of like it. If you're still looking for a ribbon, there's like a lot of good dense chests to check in this dungeon.
Yeah, you have like 8 on the first floor, 10 on the second, and like 12 on the third floor. And the fourth floor has a lot of chests as well. They're just spread out a little bit more, but again, another 14 there, so no warp though, so probably won't see him check a lot on that last floor, but definitely could see him pick up 30 chests here in the Mirage Tower and Sky Castle.
Yeah, the Sea Shrine is a little less abundant in Go mode chests. There's only really 5 or so that our runners typically check while they're in Go mode. You got 2 freebies you'll walk by, and then 3 in the what Trenton has dubbed the Sharknado room. There are 3 freebies in there to check, so only about 5. Whereas there's a lot more of what one would consider at least free chests in Sky Shrine.
Yeah, I don't know what. I guess it's because he's from Florida. He calls it the Sharknado room because of that trap tile. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know. Personally, I'm just wondering where Luigi's mansion is.
Done. As we just saw, Will is 19. Level 19, and I think 1 is 17, so he's doing all right, keeping up with levels. Typically like to hit Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Oh!
No less than 19.
Oh, it worked!
We really broke Kraken into a million pieces.
Kraken made mincemeat out of that top red mage, and I thought Will was in trouble. And then first turn, first shot, Brack falls into pieces, and Will lights up his second orb for the night.
All right, Will needs to go down to Malmin, translate his slab, then come back. But we could actually see Will do the Earth Cave here.
It wouldn't surprise me.
If Will goes to Earth Cave, we are. I'd almost like to say Maya's got a little edge. Although Maya just completely made a fool of us and decided to go to the Sea Shrine.
Yeah, I really expected Maya to hit the floating fortress / Mirage Tower there. He was in the area, translated his slab, already has the cube. That's kind of where I expected him to hit because he was in that region.
They just like to make us look like a fool.
Yeah, that's because we're not inside their heads. We don't really know what they're thinking. We've got the benefit of hindsight, but who knows what Maya or even Will's thinking right now. Because it doesn't look like Will's heading to Earth right now.
Will's throwing all of us a curveball. Alright, what is Pro Rings?
Looks like it.
Pro
Yeah,
Rings.
they are.
Man, that graphical glitch where your cursor disappears sometimes when you're trying to menu can really be frustrating sometimes. You get that Bane spell. I want to see Poison Smoke Tiamat.
As Will discovers, there is literally nothing good at level 6 for his red wizards. They could have learned the bottom 3 spells of level 6 white, but none of them were good.
Of course, the one that he probably would have chosen is in the first slot. A-Rub was astronomically by far the best option there, and we will see Will. They're just trading dungeons, and they're going to do the Sky Castle last.
Yeah, A-Rub is definitely, I think, an underutilized or at least underrated spell. Everyone looks for Wall, but A-Rub really does good in not only giving you the insta-death protection, but it actually also gives you protection from, I believe, Earth Magic.
I'm just gonna cheat and look that up for you right now.
No, I appreciate it. But people think we must have wall because he must have, all the magical protection. And while that's nice, A-Rub is definitely a good backup, a good viable backup to wall if you can't find it. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking over, and it looks like Maya has really made up a substantial amount of time on not checking certain chests in other places, and his routing is actually he's really caught up and closed the gap. Actually, I think you might be right on this one. He might have a small lead depending on how this Kraken fight goes.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. I'll honest, the difference probably was he had the exit spell earlier, and Will had to take a little extra time to go through some of the dungeons that Maya did not. So here we are. He's definitely going to get Kraken down. Maybe Kappa. Yep. So
there he
here
goes.
it is.
And so that is 3 orbs for Maya to currently 2 orbs for Willcleosis. And Willcleosis opting to check the trap tile chest over here with the Earth. Not a play one normally makes, mostly because of the time investment. But you do get an early look at Earth. It looks like they had Paralysis Touch, so that might be good to know for the Temple of Fiends. He does pick up an Ice Armor for his trouble. That is going to be an upgrade for his fighter.
Yeah, it's a really nice pickup. Definitely one of the items you like to see early. The Ice Shield or the Ice Armor gives you protection from Paralysis Touch, which is really nice. The A-Rub spell only protects from instant death. I do believe that the ribbons are the only thing that protect from Earth Elemental magic, which is why nobody likes Crack, and they took like 8 casts of it out of the randomizer. Maya did not check the first floor, and he did not check the greater than less than chests.
He is gunning for it, whereas Will is actually stopping to check the 5 chests in North B4, coming up with nothing here. No warp to warp back to the entrance of the room.
That's a feels bad man moment.
This is a good fight for Maya to take. It's a shame it's an unrunnable, but it's a good fight to take. That Gurnog is going to be worth a lot of experience. The one downside, and we'll see how limited unlimited really is here. The only downside to Maya's strategy right now is that you have a finite number of nuke and fade charges with the possibility of enemies having a decent amount of hit points. Our stats for the Swiss flags, if you don't remember, is 67 to 150%. So 150% of chaos is 3,000 hit points, and so how many good rolls of those nukes and fades would he need to overcome that? Hopefully, it looks like a tracker does not show that that Maya found the Vorpal. So I don't know if Maya's just he's not even checking what we consider the free chests in that floor. Maya's really just going, and I don't know. I guess I like it. He definitely needs it if he's gonna try and make up the gap that he had with Willcleosis. But now that gap is actually widening in Maya's favor. I'm not 100% sold on Maya's party comp to get through Topher.
No, especially since we haven't seen anything bad. He's one Thunder, Blaze, Crack away from just a really tough time in TOFR.
I mean, you say that he's really a Blaze, a Crack away from having a bad time here in in Floating Fortress.
Yeah, I mean, this is the. We said it before. We saw the learnable life too early, and the learnable fade, and he switched from one. I actually liked his party comp at the start, and then he changed it to all red mages, which kind of didn't. I don't know. It kind of didn't make sense, but I guess it's working for him as of now. But Temple of Fiends could definitely be an absolute nightmare for him. So we're going to see Will go and get his chime from the Lupa Lupas.
Yeah, and so now that we flipped the script earlier, we said Maya was about one dungeon behind. Now Will is probably about one dungeon behind, utilizing that first encounter to get across to Lefane with no encounters, which is nice, and he'll utilize the same to get back. So in about 2 minutes or less, he will probably be in the Mirage Tower. Same time, barring incident, Maya will be done with this Tiamat fight.
Yeah, he had a good walk across the Bridge of Destiny too. And Tiamat is very ticklish here in his first form. This is like when Cell absorbed one android. It's Tiamat 1, but he's got to face perfect Cell down in Temple of Fiends Revisited. So we'll probably see a little shopping trip, maybe get some heal potions. I didn't catch how many he had, but it's going to pick some up. And we'll make it in, see how this goes.
Yeah, if Maya manages to pull this out, it's definitely going to be a good one to watch, something that's going to be really, really exciting to do, because the biggest thing he's going to struggle with is all three of those red mages are quite squishy, and he can lose up to 2 of them in any given fight, but during the fight is going to be a different story, like how many nukes, how many fades are required to get through each boss, how many unrunnables is he going to hit. Those are going to eat through some of his charges of stuff.
We did see Willcleosis picked up the Falconic Blade.
Yeah, the question, chat, what happened to Will? Will was a dungeon up, now he's a dungeon down. Yeah, he spent some time checking chests that he may not have needed to. With the sheer volume of nukes and fades, and with, at the very least, the Vorpal Sword, he probably was sufficient. Maybe that ice armor was good, because all he had was iron armor. Would have been looking for at least... He's got 1 ripping, but while at level 2, I almost think you just go for it at that point. But it looks like he's opted away from... we'll see what happens. Actually, we'll see what he does on floor 2. He's going to opt away from floor 2's chests. I think he's going to go.
I definitely like the position that Will's in, party composition-wise. He's got the life 2 charges on his knight, so he's going to be a little safer. Also has the Vorpal and the power bonks with that ice armor, so if this is difficult, no roost spell and no invis 1 spells for the red mages to add extra buffs onto the knight, so it's a little scary. But see how it all plays out as we get our first entrance into TOFR at right around 1 hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, he's got that first encounter, Gas Dragons with Thunder.
I didn't see that. I saw a run.
Yeah, he was actually in at 105.35, but the first encounter off that power cycle were Gas Dragons, and Gas Dragons had Thunder, and it wasn't pleasant for him.
Well, here we go.
He's skipping the validation chest, too.
This man has the cojones of steel, you know? Not on me. We're doing a nice job picking all of these greater than a gamma fights.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you may see that that Will's still in Floating Fortress, and Maya's on just about to the Earth floor, but I'm still kind of holding my breath here on Maya's party. We're gonna see how he handles things like even Carry 2 can be pretty nasty on hits if you don't have that fighter up front.
Yes, I mean he's already taking a lot of damage from these just random encounters. Losing the black belt already.
And Will, with those extra chest checks, finds the defense sword in the upper corner of Mirage 3 or Floating Fortress 3F.
That's the real game changer right there. Everybody get your beers out. We could be here for a hot minute.
And that's a good encounter for Will. Those rock rolls are worth a good thing, a good amount of experience there. But unfortunately, he's hitting a little bit of a chunkier part of the encounter table right now as he takes 2 steps into a man-cat fight.
I wonder if he's going to take that information into Temple of Fiends Revisited and maybe not hard power right away. It'll be interesting to see.
And so we get our first look at Lich 2, and we'll see what kind of spell skill table he's got. Comes out swinging. That's always a good thing.
And I actually like this, using the Fire 2 charges. In the refights, all of the fiends who have weaknesses in their first form lose those weaknesses. So, although in the regular fights, Fire 2 can do a lot more damage. You see, it's only doing about 40 to 80 here because they've got a lot more resistances. But he takes Lich down, and Lich didn't show any of his cards. So that in itself is a little scary.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. He took 2 hits and an ink. So unfortunately, one of the skills you want to see later is off the table now in one of the inks. But pure melee almost makes you think that he had no spells or skills, and those all got dumped later. But thankfully and fortunately, he does have a spell and skill list this time around. The only thing I don't like about, and I mean, I don't know what you really could do, I guess it's probably the right play unless he had a nuke or nuclear, was the longer you prolong that fight, the riskier the fights get. And so using Fire 2 and Zeus Gauntlet prolong that fight for 3 rounds, and that could have been disastrous.
As we see the Sentry unleashing a big lit 3, taking out the black belt again. And a big chunk of the red mage's HP as well.
Yeah, this is one of those sort of deceptive fights. Those sentries are worth a lot of experience, but sometimes they're really hard to bring down. And unfortunately, that's just more time that it's costing Willcleosis here.
Yeah, the sentries in the base game have something like, here, I'll tell you in a second, have 400 HP in the base game, and so they have, like 240 at minimum, but they're resistant. Their weakness is lightning, and they're resistant to pretty much everything else. But they do give a really, really nice quantity of experience.
And while that was all going on, Carry 2 used Crack. It was only effective on one of the red wizards, and Carry went down pretty quickly. So now he's making his way over to Kraken 2 and just waltzes right into the Kraken 2 fight, encounter free.
It's a really nice walk. Wow. Kraken comes out slapping.
Down goes one of the red wizards.
Was that 8 hits for 666 damage?
That was correct.
And still slapping, taking out the black belt as well. All right, so this is risky business here.
Oh, okay. Less of a hit on that top red mage there, but still, he's slap happy. I don't know if he has a spell or skill table. Does not look like it at this point.
And terminated.
Despite the low rolls on the nukes, Kraken 2 is down. So we know Kraken 2 is pretty slap happy. No spells, no skills that we saw. And certainly that's not to say that he didn't have them. We've seen fights where he just 1, 2, 3, 4 punch your party dead, and then you roll in the second time, and oh yeah, he had spells the whole time. He probably just has a higher tendency to not use spells or skills.
Oh, yes, Will with the poison smoke on Tiamat 1. What a legend.
So we've got a Brack on Maya's side. We've got a Bane on Willcleosis' side. Except if Maya's party holds up, Willcleosis is really far behind at this point. There's nothing a TOFR wipe from Maya here wouldn't fix, however. It's just a matter of whether or not Tiamat's bad and whether or not Chaos is bad here. So we're going to get our first look at Tiamat 2 and see what he's got going on.
Well, you love to see Ink round 1. Kind of disrespecting the physicals of Tiamat 2. You know, this is Cell in his final form here. And he only casts 1 white shirt. He does not cast any Invis 2s.
Yeah, more often than not, Tiamat 2 does not hit as bad as Kraken 2 does. And so, more often than not, I know I'll leave my fighter in the first position. You get enough the defense, you get enough ruse off, enough white shirts off. That top slot is going to be relatively safe. There's a Thunder coming out.
Ooh, baby. And down he goes.
All right. Now, the question will be, does Maya have enough to cross the finish line? He's got 4 fades on 1. I didn't see what else he has, but I know he's got lower amounts of nuke charges on all of his red mages. We'll see if he's got enough. If Chaos has a Cure 4, this might not swing well in his favor, depending on where it is.
Gonna get our first look at Garden 2.0. Takes the time to put the ice sword on the red mage.
And now we've got Will's. Oh, Will's going to check the crown chests here in Temple of Fiends as we have Maya on the Chaos fight.
So we're gonna get 3 casts of Invis 2 and a wall. And Fire 3 gonna do a little bit of work.
Yeah, that is one of the downsides to not having heals and cures in mass. You've got Cure 3 there, it looks like, but regular heal up to level 5 is a little rough for those red wizards. You might as well think that their hit points are kind of a finite resource that are very difficult to replenish at this point.
And a second Fire 2. So we're going to start unleashing the fades. I'm sorry, that was Fire 3. Big 364 roll.
Yeah, that was definitely good. Unfortunately, it looks like he is down to just the fade charges. I think he's using another Fog 2 there, I saw.
I think that was Cure 3.
Oh, yeah, he's going to definitely need that. As unfortunately, these spells are kind of rocking him a little bit with only 1 ribbon. I don't know if he either was if he got those walls up or what, because that ice 2 even looked like he hit him for a fair amount.
He did get one wall up. Or he only cast one wall, actually. Uh-oh!
Oh,
no! No nuke, no fade on that first one. He's got 5 nukes and fades on the second. And I think 3 on the third. Or no, just 1 fade on... Ooh, wow, this is... Oh, boy.
Oh, this is not going well for Maya at the moment. It is unfortunately one of the downsides to sticking to a pure magic-based strat is having Cure 4 on any one of these fiends that has a high amount, potentially a high amount of hit points. As we see a Bane come out to no avail from Chaos's side. If you hit that Cure 4, it is just going to unfortunately erase everything you've done, and without melee, you really don't have a means of building that back up. So we'll see what he does, but unfortunately, it's not looking good for Maya.
No, and I don't know if he didn't cast... If he's out of healing for that one fight, the one red wizard that he's buffing to do physical attacks. This is not boding well. Man down, man down. And you can now see the hesitation from Mai. He's like, crap, what do I do?
Yeah, as the Ice 3 only hits for 39 damage, it's just not going to be enough. We'll see if he pulls out anything else, but unfortunately, it looks like he's just going to run out of gas right here at the finish line.
This is so close. He's casting Saber, but I think that guy has like the silver tech. Because we've come back around to the... If he casts Cure 4 again...
I just don't know what you do if you're Maya, because unfortunately he literally limped into the barn with this. I guess we'd have to see how bad Carry 2 really was, but you have to justify the big amounts of damage that were necessary for Kraken and for TMX.
I think he needs about 10 more power gauntlets before you even swing. But
Here it comes.
If he casts Cure 4...
Here it comes. It's right after the Ice 2 here on the spell list. Ooh, and it looks like he's got that propensity to cast spell.
No! Cure 4 again!
And that's got to be rough. He's got to hope for melee at this point, but it looks like he rolled a high propensity to cast magic, like maybe 96. Oh, there's a melee that took him out.
No, this is so bad.
Where is that Bane sword? Did you not find the Bane sword? That's really what's what would have... I don't want to say it would have helped, but it probably is better than unfortunately what just happened.
Oh no, Maya. And he resets out. Oh, that is so... Oh, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is now where Maya has to come face-to-face with the decision he made an hour and 20 minutes ago to run and re-roll a 3 red mage party. It was a fighter red mage, white mage comp versus Willcleosis' 2 red mages. Both would have probably been negligible. I guess maybe the edge goes to the 2 red mages, but red-white would have been really sufficient. But at this point, not having that fighter up front, not having a power meleeer, and just not being able to get to the finish line with enough gas in the tank to take Chaos out is going to be the downfall, unfortunately.
I'd argue for the White Wizard, because you had level 1 Cure 4. Like, that would be so beneficial to him, especially in that fight. Instead of having to use the heal potions, he could use the Cure 4 charges, because he got extra ones on the Red Mage and the fighter. So
So we could see Kraken 2 already going slap happy on Willcleosis' side. He lacks the same sort of lack of healing punch that makes your HP a finite resource. Where, like you said, bringing that white wizard would have given him access to Cure 4, which during the fights would be really nice.
So do you say English is hard? Do you dare say that this is now Will's fight race to lose?
I would say so, because we didn't really see anything crazy on Kraken 2 or Tiamat 2. Even if Kraken 2 takes out the Knight right here, he should have enough Fade charges to get through the fight. And see, there we go. We get over K2. You get over K2, and it looks like with Power Gauntlet and the Vorpal Sword backed up with nukes and fades for days, that it looks like this is Will's race to lose at this point.
Zyre pointing out that Vorpal will prevail. He would actually be doing more damage if he put the defense sword on. If you guys want to take a second here to click on our polls to find out who will be our spring tournament mascot, will it be the Iguana, the Agama, or the Soraya? We also have a poll up for which is the best sword for the Knight, and if you vote for the Vorpal, you're just absolutely wrong. And then we have one more poll for the finalists to race. Oh, Nuclear Lich. Okay, there's one of them. Which party comp to do in the bonus stream? Four Thieves has been removed as it was the fall tournament last year. So 4 Black Mages, I believe, is in lead right now. So let's get those votes in. Do not vote for the Vorpal Sword.
As it looks like Maya's making his way back to carry 2, just taking out Lich right there. Lich giving him a little bit of trouble too. So we've got Will on Tiamat 2. Like I said, in having that first look from Maya, Tiamat really didn't pose much of a threat from a damage standpoint. We didn't see a whole lot come out. Even if a nuclear comes out, takes out the 2 red mages, that fighter's got the life too to bring him back. So there shouldn't be any major trouble here with Tiamat 2. And then we saw the entire spell list on Chaos, and the entire spell list, the worst part of it was the Cure 4. And I think as soon as you see the Cure 4, probably just drop a few more bonks and get that up so where you're, 2-3 hits and Chaos is dead.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see Nuclear Lich the first time through either, so it's here we go, boys and girls. Let's just see what's gonna happen.
There's the thunder from down under. So we've got Maya rolling into carry 2 right now.
And that's a very vengeful Tiamat taking.
Oh, Will does not have life 2.
Taking what?
Life 2 was 4. That's right. Knights don't have access to life 2 in this game because life 2 is level 4. So it looks like we're going to see a one-hit wonder here, a man mode Knight going against Chaos. Hopefully enough defense sword charges will get him up. We know the spell list that he casts, his biggest problem is going to be curing himself.
He's looking again like, where's my life charges?
Yeah, unfortunately, knights can only learn 1, 2, and 3 level spells, whereas ninjas could learn all the first 4 levels of black. And I know that's a little confusing because sometimes I'll check a level 4 white magic.
Whoa!
Chaos
He
opens
just
with a nuclear.
nuclear.
Unbelievable. The things that we did not see on Maya's side. This suddenly has opened up in kind of in favor of Maya a little bit. We'll see if the how many spells he's about to see. There's a melee shot. That's just more depletion of his hit points. Yeah, that heal's not going to help you, unfortunately.
No,
Next up's the Cure 4.
I mean, he literally needs like 5. I mean, the Cure 4 is nice to see, but he needs some melees. Ton of melees in a row.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think the rest of Chaos's list, I think, is fine. He's going to see a Bane. There it is. I think this spell there's lit 2, and I think it's about to reset. I think there were only 6 spells in his list. Nope, a second lit 2. Okay, well, then there's going to be an 8th spell. There it is, the stun. That's right. Now I remember. So here come the Fire 3.
Yeah, he just needs to hold down the A button.
Yeah, the only thing you could hope for at this point is to try and get him stuck in an RNG loop, because here comes that Ice 2.
Yep,
And the next spell's Cure 4 again.
Yep, there we go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he rolled a high, probably like, I feel like he rolled like a 75% chance to spell cast. I don't know if it goes that high, but it goes kind of high. And it looks like that's all he wants to do is cast spells all the time. The only thing I can hope for if you're Will is get him stuck in an RNG loop. He's hitting for a lot there, though. That's like 1,200 hit points. Oh, close to 1,700, and he's stopping to heal instead of swinging.
He needs to just swing.
Oh, still not enough!
That is crazy.
That was close to 2,400 hit points, I want to say. So we've gone over on the amount of hit points that Chaos has, which is going to be heavily detrimental against Maya here. With over 2,400 hit points, it's going to be very tough to churn out that kind of offensive firepower with just spells alone.
I think you can safely, like, I don't think you're white shirting, because we've probably seen 10 physical attacks in the 2 fights total we've seen, and he's gone through his spell list 4 times.
Yeah, and it looks like Will is actually going to go grinding for levels here. As we've seen through both fights, we have only seen 2 skills. We have seen Nuclear and we have seen Poison. And so he has a heavy propensity to cast magic here. And it's probably, and I know it's, I've seen this, it's on the scale of up to 128. Out of 128, certain rates are applied to spells and to skills. And if neither one of those hit, then it's a melee attack. And so it looks like he rolled, like, I want to say whatever the 75% is to cast a spell, because it seems like a really, really high chance to go through a spell list here. Yeah, and Maya doing the sensible thing and going ahead and starting with the defensive builds. He knows that Cure 4 is coming, and so he doesn't want to lay down any damage until that Heal 4 already passes through. It's good to take this time to just go ahead and try to heal your party as best as you can. And it looks like Will's going back to Honor Act to probably either check Mermaids or check level 7 spells.
Uh-oh, we're going to see the ladies!
That's what it looks like. We are going to get to see the ladies tonight.
I'm not sure how much sense this makes, because
Will was in the right position.
Like, if just one of his fighters one of his red mages lives, he wins that fight.
Yeah, definitely. because then he also has access to fast, and then any nuke fade charges remaining on his list. Question chat. So what's Chaos's list? Okay, so Chaos's spell list was Fire 3, Ice 2, Cure 4, Bane, Lit 2, Stun.
And then nuclear poison.
And that's all we've seen of the skills. We don't know if there's anything other than nuclear and poison in the skill tree.
And we also know that Maya needs to step up these rolls.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's out of nukes and fades on the bottom red mage. And he's running out of time, too, because I think that's the second Lit 2, and it looks like he's coming with the stun. Oh, he finds Mass Immune in the ladies.
Oh, and he
does it! Wow! GG. Maya just pulled the rug out from underneath us and went ahead and flooded Chaos with the nukes and fades necessary to get that kill. So let's get those GGs in chat, folks. The battle of commentators between Willcleosis and Ichbinmiah goes to Ichbinmiah with an official SRL time of 1:32:28.
I don't have words for what we just saw.
That's crazy. We know he had over 2,400 hit points. And so just, seeing that second round through and knowing he had to conserve as much as possible. And even then, I didn't see some of his rolls were kind of low, but he must have just flooded. And I don't even know. That just happened all while I was looking at the ladies. So I guess I was distracted.
And I don't even think he picked up anything worthwhile in the ladies' room.
Massa was it. And at this point, Massa's not going to turn that tide. So if you guys have any questions for Maya, feel free to post them in the chat, and we will definitely pass them on to our champion tonight. Will's going to give this the old college try here and get back in there and try and down this thing instead of forfeiting out. Much respect for that. Gives us more content.
I wonder, does finishing the race have tiebreaker implications, or is it just purely on the records?
I think it's just purely on the records at this point. The only thing it gets you, I think, is you lose less SRL points because it's an actual completion instead of a forfeit. But otherwise, there's no the tiebreaker is for all the people who are 3 and 2, which, speaking of, Maya officially qualifies for the spring tournament playoffs. With his win tonight, he moves to 3 and 0. And the record of 3 wins nets you at least entry into the play-in race that is coming in week 6. If he gets one more win, he buys himself a bye for that particular race. So Maya's going to look for his 4th victory next week. But we are going to try and get him in here. Let me just look over my list here. There he is.
He is here
welcome
now.
to the Randomizer chat room. Ichbinmiah, GG on your way.
Hi guys, how you doing?
We have no voice.
We don't. That was crazy.
That was good to the last fade, I think is how I would call that.
That first trip, you literally just ran out of gas at the finish line, and we were just feeling for you. And Willcleosis was on carry, I think, when you were doing that fight. You had probably a solid 5-minute lead on him. But the whole time we were saying, all right, three red mages, how is it really going to last when push comes to shove? And so I guess just take me through your decision to reroll.
The second I saw a fade that was learnable by the red mage with a black belt as a kicker, I thought to myself, if there's any time to do this, it would be now, especially if they're going to give me the best white magic spell in the game. Right off the front, and it's learnable. I was like, let's try this. And then Nuke showed up in level 2, and I was like, well, the black belt is completely useless now. He can stay dead for the whole time. But it ended up working out beautifully. And I'm glad I had all 9 fade charges, because I needed every last one of them to get through here.
Yeah, tell me about the first Cure 4 you saw the first time through Chaos. Like, how did that make you feel?
Oh, when I saw it, I was like, well, at the very least, I wanted to see what was in the rest of the spell list. Because if there was something awful past Cure 4, like a nuke or something like that, I was going to be pretty much hosed. But there wasn't. And then Cure 4 came around again. And so at that point, I felt like I could still do it, but I knew that this run was pretty much toast. At that point, when you're fasting and sabering a flame sword, you're just praying at that point.
You were swinging for about 400 with that flame sword. It was coming in hot.
Yeah, I actually thought maybe this can work, but I knew for my second approach, all I needed to do was drop down the wall spell. And the wall spell is my favorite spell in these flags. I don't leave home without it. And this is exactly why. I knew if I could keep all 3 red mages up, or red wizards up, and have them walled, they would be just fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chaos was Willcleosis' downfall as well, but unfortunately, it was really Tiamat that was Willcleosis' downfall, as I think a commentator's cursed him, because you went through Tiamat, no problems both times. Will goes through Tiamat, and everything's going along, and I look away, and I swear to you, I looked away, and I looked back, and both of his red mages were dead. I wasn't sure what specifically it was that killed the 2 red mages, but he no longer had access to life and had to man mode it against Chaos, and Chaos opened with Nuclear on him, and so...
Ouch.
But he had a high propensity for spell casting. It was probably a 3 out of 4 chance that he would cast a spell as opposed to using a skill or melee. And with that spell list, it was one of those things where you had very little cure spells. Same with Will. You guys have very little cure spells, so HP was definitely a finite resource that was unreplenishable. So the spell list probably was just more of a time bomb than an actual like heavy hitting thing. And unfortunately, Will did see the nuclear, whereas you didn't see it at all.
Yeah, no, I never saw that. I saw the spell cycle through at least a couple of times, and I put down a few charges of Invis too, but he was still hitting through that every once in a while too. But because of the resources I had, a lot had to go correctly in order for me to have enough nuke and fade charges to bring him down at the end. I had to use, Piddly Fire 2 charges against Lich to bring him down. And all of those things sort of snowballed in my favor down the stretch here.
Question for you in chat, Maya. How does it feel to be the Dragon Slayer?
I feel like I'm punching above my weight right now, to be completely honest. If you would have told me at the beginning of this tournament that I would be 3-0, I would have laughed at you. But I like these flags a lot. I don't know what it is about them, to be completely honest. I like that. I don't know if that's the decision making is a little bit narrowed at the beginning of the game, and so I don't have to think so much. And so and if you don't have to think as much because you know where all this stuff is that you're looking for, you can pay attention to things like, well, is my party happy and healthy? And where am I going to go next, and all of that sort of stuff.
You made a pretty smart decision, actually. Speaking of decision making, the bridge was one of the incentivized items, which meant it dropped one of our actual go mode items into a random chest somewhere. And right after you translated your slab, I believe, I had said, well, hopefully Maya goes to Volcano to find the bottle, which Will had already done. Will was probably a dungeon ahead of you at one point, and I had said, okay, we knew it was in Volcano B2, and I said, well, Maya can go Volcano B2 and get the bottle, but the worst thing he could do right now is go to the Earth Cave, and thankfully you bypassed it right away and went to the Volcano. That saved you a lot of time.
That's the only downside to these flags, is that they can degenerate into a who finds the extra item hiding in a chest somewhere sort of contest. And when I saw that had happened, I was like, oh no, it's going to come down to dumb luck. You know, one of us is going to find it super late. And that's going to be the story of this seed. I actually felt really lucky when I found the bottle when I did. I thought I was ahead at that point. I thought I had found it early. I'm surprised and I guess I'm delighted as well that we both sort of found it pretty quickly, so that it didn't turn into a who found the magic chess game.
No, and I'm not even sure the chess checking difference is going to be all too much. As soon as you kind of finished Waterfall and did Ordeals, you were kind of just going and jetting, and that kind of opened up your lead.
Well, yeah, and I ended up I went to Ordeals and figured out what was there, and then I wanted to go to the waterfall because I wanted to know. At that point, it was between the what was I missing at that point? It was either the slab or the bottle, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to waterfall so that I can find out which dungeon is locked to me. And it ended up being the bottle that I couldn't find. And so at that point, I went back to I think Melmon to buy spells because I had enough goodies for level 5 spells. And since I was in the area, of course, nobody ever wants to do Earth Cave. Nobody should ever do Earth Cave first. That's a terrible idea. But Volcano was nearby, so that's where I went next.
We did find out that Inferno is not nice.
Yeah, Inferno must have been the spell that took out his 2 red wizards before, because it took out his 2 red wizards again.
Oh, what a bummer.
And I mean, if retrospectively though, if you think about it, but if he doesn't see the nuclear and he doesn't have to waste all of those turns heal potioning, he might have won that first time through. But he saw the nuclear, and he also has damage poison, so this has not been too fun for poor Willcleosis.
I think it's going to be easier for him if he doesn't find that nuclear. So the spell list isn't that bad.
I do like that he put the Vorpal on.
He has a ribbon. Why do you cast Wall on yourself if you have a ribbon?
Yeah, it's an interesting play here to switch to the Vorpal Sword. He's going to have a ton of bonk charges, and that crit rate's really going to help him. But that's really the only saving grace is when it crits. When it doesn't crit, it's not so good. And we know Chaos has over 2,400 hit points, which was another just stellar marvel of your victory, Maya, is that he had over 2,400 points, and you had the spell charges to take him out.
I have, when I run these races, I have Astral Esper's FAQ up. And so once I decided to go triple red mage, I was like, okay, when do I get my 9th charge of level 1? Because that's where I want to stop. And it's right at level 22, which is where I like to be anyways.
Oh. And the Cure 4 comes out again.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the only thing you got to hope for is that you get him in a RNG loop. That's the only thing you can hope for.
That one extra power bomb has upped his damage by almost 200. There we go.
And there we go.
Come on, Will, you can do this.
That last one is good enough.
Awesome.
We have a dot done. We have a finish by Willcleosis. He comes in 2nd place with a time of 1:45:27. We are going to try and get him into the chat room. Yeah, that spell list, as you're pointing out, Melee Wizard, our tracker, it almost seemed like he was looping the spell list. That was more of a propensity to cast spells. If it were an actual RNG loop, he'd either melee or he'd cast the same spell over and over and over again. That's how you know you're in the loop. Because it hits for exactly the same damage and you hit for exactly the same damage. That's how you know that you're stuck in the RNG loop.
GG to Willcleosis. Welcome to you in the booth here, sir.
Papa Foys, thank you very much. GG, Ichbinmiah, congratulations.
Thank you, Will. GG to you too.
Will, Inferno must be your favorite ability.
No, apparently Chaoses with multiple Cure 4s that love to use spells and a billion HP got me. But it's my fault on the first run because I didn't use Wall. Had I used Wall, the chipping of the, was it Lightning 2 or in Fire 3, wouldn't have had me using heal potions and I would have been able to take him out with the Vorpal.
You, oh man, now I just totally blanked.
Now the real difference was the nuclear. You got hit for like 278, and that caused you to have to go into heal mode. Maya went through twice. Maya never saw the nuclear or the poison, but he opted to switch parties right at the beginning when he saw the level 1 fade, and he ran three red mages and just ran out of gas the first time through chaos, and he never saw the nuclear though, and when you got hit with that, it kind of put you in panic mode almost, I would say, and you had no healing. Your only option was the heal potions, but
right.
It was really unfortunate.
Yeah, he hit me with nuclear both times pretty early. No, he got me later with nuclear than the second time.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this chaos, in addition to having over 2,400 hit points, was that actually he goes through all 8 spells fairly quickly. He has, like, I think at least a 75% chance to spell cast. We actually saw your entire list. You said multiple Cure 4s. It was actually the same Cure 4 that you were seeing.
Right.
He just had that propensity to cycle through a spell list within 8 or 9 turns.
Yeah, I think I had him that first time until the poison came out at the end. I had to have been close. I was around 2,000. I hit him for 500, 500, 400, and 600, somewhere in there. So it was close.
You were at like 2,400 when he did the poison and took you out.
Gah, Ric Flair will get him next time.
Yeah, it was just really bad luck. Really bad luck.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our race is over. So, Will, do you have any last thoughts on this one?
Hey, congratulations, Maya. Great match. I'll watch it back, and a deserving opponent, certainly. And hey, what a show! I'll be watching the show tonight, 10 o'clock. Papa Foys, I think you're on deck, aren't you?
Shh, listen, I don't sell myself out like you do, sir.
Papa Foys, undefeated at 2-0 tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. Be there. I'll be there.
You'll just do it for me.
And now Maya moves to 3-0, officially qualifies for the playoffs. Maya, that's got to feel pretty good for you. Any last thought?
I'm ready to crash to earth at any minute. I want to say thanks to Norastra and everybody at Randomania for hosting us for this tournament. And thank you to Papa, and thank you to Sforzando for commentating, and Melee Wizard for clicking the buttons and tracking. And Shylazia is our restreamer tonight, and so this was a whole family affair. But I feel lucky that I beat Will tonight, and hopefully that means that I won't have to possibly face Will again until very, very late in the tournament, if for some miraculous reason I'm still in it at that point. But thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
I was going to change Will's name to the Old Guard Slayer because I'm glad that you held one firm for the team, buddy.
I'm paddling as fast as I can, guys.
Man, oh man, what a race tonight. So definitely, if you've enjoyed the content you've seen, give Randomania and its auxiliary channels a follow. If you liked either of these runners, feel free to give them a follow as well. They do a lot of these old school gaming, randomizers, what have you, and they bring more content to you as something they love doing. And so I have been Sforzando. Papa Foys, I'm going to pass it over to you. Take us home.
Thank you to Randomania. Appreciate you guys hosting this event. Maya and Will, you guys put on a great show. You guys are going to watch this VOD and absolutely be floored at how insanely close this race was from the get-go. And as for Zando, pleasure to cast with you, sir. Remember, 1 hour from now, Randomania 2, me and Minochi. Minochi will be joining the Tristal Fight Club. Peace.